Hello and welcome to the smallest episode of Show of Hands Hangout that we've had. It is the end of a semester for a lot of people, and so we had some cancellations and we had some stuff going on, but that's how it is sometimes. So it is just Ron and I right now, though we will be joined by my lovely wife when she gets back home.
Now, does she
Uh,
know that she's joining us, or is this going to be a surprise for her?
Well, no, she said she was all about joining, but she has a running buddy at the gym who is not usually there and who showed up today. So there's
I,
that.
I was just wondering if she's going to, show up dripping wet with sweat and expecting to go get a shower, and then you say, no, you have to, be on the internet captured for all to see forever. So,
Right. No, we're running a half together on Sunday, and so we've been trying to get long runs in whenever we can, but now with Sunday coming up quickly, we're down to short runs. So today was I think she did three today, like 3 miles, 3 or 4 miles. Um,
that's easy.
uh,
I think I did that once and promised I would never do it again.
our usual day is somewhere in the area of 7, and we've been doing longer runs. So more recently, they've been more like 10, 12, 15 milers. So to go from regularly doing that to three is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Barely break a sweat, probably.
She comes back from running like 6 or 7 miles and she hasn't broken a sweat. I come back from like 4 and I should shower now because I'm just melting into a puddle on the floor. At least this way I'll melt down the drain.
Yeah, I think in order to pass in order to graduate at NC State, you had to take a basic PE, and in order to pass that class, you had to run 3 miles in a certain amount of time, like 30 minutes. And
Okay.
that was the one time in my life that I actually ran the 3 miles, and I didn't throw up, but I barely made it in the time allowed. So I promised myself that it would not happen again. And so far, 25-ish years later, I'm sticking with that commitment.
A man of principle.
Exactly, a man of principle.
Yeah, we run a lot, but it's that time of peace away from, you know, parenting duties. I guess that's really what it comes down to. It's
Mm. There, there's
a
something to be said
45.
about silence and getting away.
Yeah, yeah. Between getting there, running, cooling down, and then getting back. It's an hour and a half, 2 hour block of nothing,
Hmm.
and it's everything you could hope that it would be. So, love my kids, but sometimes it's nice to get a little time off.
Just wait. When they turn into teenagers, they'll just sort of stay in the room all day, and you'll forget they're there. It's kind of nice. At least that's what happened. That's what's happening with our girl right now. So we'll see if she comes out in about 10 years. But at this point, she might show up for dinner if you make her. Otherwise, you forget she's there.
See, maybe you should
Uh,
have her on here next time.
when school's out, I'll have her on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a
Oh
problem.
yeah, school.
Yeah, she's only got 3 weeks left of school,
Nice.
so yeah, she'd love to do it.
Cool. I've got a nephew who will probably stay with us for a good long while once he's out of school too.
Cool.
And he would probably do this too. He was on once before. Um, all right, so we've got some questions. A lot of these, and I should say, a lot of these are particularly good questions. Not that they're not always good, but a lot of these are like really serious good questions. So I would like to say ahead of time that for the people who asked stuff, these questions will probably, at least some of them, be repeated next week too. Just as a heads up. So
don't hold it against us if we change our answer over the next week, just for the record.
Right. Yeah.
If I say Hillary today and then Trump next week, you're gonna have to forgive me.
I don't know if we'd forgive you for saying Trump, but then again, no. Let's see. Jack Tor S, who wants off this planet, says, was the import of Muslim immigrants to Germany, Sweden, and other Western European countries beneficial or detrimental for the existing population?
Well, being as I'm not in Germany or Western Europe at the moment, and I am only depending on what I'm hearing from the press, I would say in a short term, it was detrimental. We'll have to wait and see what happens long term. I mean, one of the things that's changed in America over the past 20 to 30 years is that when we've always been a melting pot. You come into America and you learn our language, you kind of adopt our way of things. You may change things a little bit, but you become an American. Over the past 20 to 30 years, immigrants have come in and they've not become American. They've held on to their cultures, and so we've got these different blocks that are now living in America. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if they're able to assimilate into the country that they're in, they will make it better. If they don't, then I think you're going to end up with culture clashes. Just my 2 cents.
I have a lot of family still living, well, a lot of family. I don't have a lot of family still living, period, but most of my family that is still living is living in Belgium. And so there's, you get different updates here and there. By and large, my two cousins that are there, that are roughly my age, give or take a couple years, have said that they're pretty neutral about things. They feel that, with the exception of the couple of major bombings that have happened, and yes, those are a big exception, that with the exception of those, they're relatively neutral about most all of it. They said there are differences and what have you, but that the number of refugees, and especially because it's not, they said it, they're, like you're saying, where there are pockets. They said a lot of it does happen in pockets, and that there's not very much difference in their day-to-day lives. That there's almost a here and there type of thing going on. I agree that I guess I can't completely agree with, because I wasn't here, but I think that you're right, that we have gone more to keeping cultures than assimilating necessarily. And I think part of that's really good, because I think we gain a lot from each other, but at the same time, there can't be this enmity that seems to be coming up more and more. And when when different factions start to feel threatened by each other, whether it's rationally or not, the reactions start to be um, ugly, for lack of a better word. And um, I don't know how much of that has to do with uh, fears or discomforts that are actually grounded in something versus, um, ah, for lack of a better word, versus just kind of trumped up hype.
I see what you
Not
did there.
referring to the, yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much, and I think for the most part that not much of it has any real foundation in much of anything. That for the most part we are all just people trying to do the best we can with what we've got. But um, it's really easy to point out negatives,
Oh yeah.
and when the negatives are so very visible, like you say, here's this big bombing that happened. It's the biggest bombing that we have had in this country's history. Now I'm talking about Belgium in particular. Um, and it comes on the heels of this influx. I mean, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to keep track of the thought that the vast majority of everyone is just fine and is,
Right.
a very decent human being, that we're all doing, but it's a very, very visible minority that really hurts a lot of people.
Right. Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but South Carolina has just passed a law, or they're in the process of passing a law that says that if you bring immigrants into South Carolina and you sponsor or you work with those immigrants, um, then you are legally responsible for what those immigrants do in South Carolina. In other words, if I've got some friends that are missionaries down in South Carolina, they work with churches, and when people from Iraq or Burma or other countries, when they come in and they're either refugees or they're fleeing persecution or something, and they will come into the area, my friends will then help get them set up with lodging, uh, food, clothing, and we'll get them set up, because most of them come off the airplane with just the clothes on their back. They don't speak the language, so they will work with them and help them get started in America. And they work with different churches for their backing and their financing. But with this new law, it's making the churches liable for these immigrants that are coming in. So you have these people that are getting just dropped off on at the airport with nowhere to go and nothing to do. But now because of the law and because of the few people that would be causing problems as immigrants, it's ruining all of the foundation that they were building to help out all the other immigrants. So
This sounds like it sounds like South Carolina is working as hard as they can to beat out, well, bad decisions in all sorts of places. I think they're trying to steal the spotlight. Maybe that sounds like a horrible thing to me.
right. Well, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make South Carolina so inhospitable to immigrants that the immigrants will just go somewhere else. They're not saying immigrants are, we're not accepting any, but they're making life much harder for them once they get here.
Yeah, I mean, are they gonna have separate bathrooms too? Do you think?
Oh, obviously you're gonna. Well, it depends on how you identify. If I identify as an American, they'll let you in. If you identify as an Iraqi, then no, you're gonna have to go to a multi cultural bathroom.
it's no, but I mean, it does seem completely ridiculous because, well, I mean, there's no difference between that and saying, and maybe there is, and I just don't see it. But to me, there's no difference between saying if you bring an immigrant in versus if your brother moves in from out of state, then you are legally responsible for everything that,
Right.
like if you have your brother come live with you, then or sponsor him in some way, then you're legally responsible for everything they do, and that wouldn't come up. Like
No.
there's no way if you live in South Carolina and your brother's in North Carolina and you have him come stay with you for a week and he goes and robs a liquor store, they're not going to hold you responsible.
Right. Exactly.
It's yeah.
So that's what that my friends are dealing with that. So they're trying to figure out what their next move is going to be. So, but yeah, that and in this instance, there's not even been any bombings or any bad seeds in South Carolina. It's all preventative. Just assuming that eventually it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Vegan Crusader asks, will you be voting for a third-party candidate this year?
I see. This is the advantage of only having two of us here tonight. And actually, we're too good to have because we are on opposite ends of the spectrum
Mm-hmm.
in many ways. So because you are definitely not voting for Trump,
No.
and
No.
I will probably hold my nose and vote for Trump simply to keep Hillary out.
Ooh,
So,
don't do it.
well, see, but you're correct me if I'm wrong. You would vote Bernie, or you of the Hillary and Bernie, you would vote Bernie. Is that correct?
I would line up. I would line up farther left. Um, yeah, I would line up farther left. I would have preferred an Elizabeth Warren, honestly, over a Bernie, but
Now, where is she on the spectrum? Is she between Hillary and Bernie?
not really. No, she's well, maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. She's very far left, but she's um, about 130 years younger than Bernie,
Yes. Well,
and that helps a lot. Like I think that's he knows how to play the game, and
mm-hmm.
he's been around for a long time, so there's not the unknown. You know exactly what to expect, which is in some ways a good thing. The and that's I mean I'm still waiting for the whole Trump thing to turn out to be one big elaborate prank. Like I'm still not 100%. I'm mostly convinced, but I'm not 100% convinced that it won't happen. And that's kind of ridiculous this far in the game that I can't say with confidence, that this isn't, um, or that I can't say with certainty that this isn't um, too outlandish to be true,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a problem. But no, he's Bernie is very very old, and that does start to be an issue, and he's he's not a particularly charismatic guy. He's got some policies that will resonate really well with um, especially younger voters,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got some views that I very very much agree with, um, and some views that I agree with less. Uh, but if he um, if he could be, quite a bit younger and a bit I don't want to say more polished. I don't want, a more like phony type of thing, but someone who, uh, it's kind of nice to have a candidate that you feel is someone you would sit down with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he's not that. And, neither is, well, I don't think anyone, in the Republican primary that was in there, really fit that bill. I don't think, like, I don't think Hillary is someone you would sit down with. She seems like, you know, the grandmother from across the street type of thing, but it's hard. It's hard. To answer Vegan's question, I will not be voting for a third party candidate this year. I will not be voting for anyone this year. I'm a non citizen and am not able
Oh,
to
that
vote.
that's right. You get to cop out on this. You don't have to answer the
So,
question.
I tried to answer the spirit of your question, but um, to the letter of your question, no, I will not, nor will I be voting for anyone because I can't.
If I will vote Trump simply to keep Hillary out. Um, because I think Trump is a complete unknown. I think it's possible he could be a great president. I think it's possible he could be the worst president ever. But I know that I'm against what Hillary stands for in a lot of ways. So Trump says some things that I can get on board with. He says a bunch of stuff I can't get on board with. Um, I align politically much more with Cruz than Trump. But Cruz is out. So if he were to go third party, I would probably still vote Trump simply to keep Hillary out because I wouldn't want to just hand her the presidency. So, but fun story. You said any of them you could have dinner with. I actually years ago, my wife's uncle was high up in the government, and we were visiting them, and he had in his study. I was hanging out in his study watching TV, and I looked over, and his phone was there, and instead of numbers on the phone, the top button said president, the next button said vice president, and down the line. And as I was looking at it, he looked over my shoulder and he said, "This is when Bill was in the Oval." He said, "Well, Bill's out of town, but Hillary's in town. You want to ask her if she wants to come over and have pizza with us?" And I said, "No, I'm really good." So I don't think he was serious, but that was as close as I came to having dinner with him. He had dinner with him all the time, but no, I said no on that. I was good.
It's cool though. It's yeah, I feel like that's the sort of thing I would love to do, but it'd be difficult with anyone that wasn't. I don't know.
I would rather have dinner with Bill than with Hillary. I think Bill would have much more fun stories, and I think he'd be more fun to hang out with. Um, I would probably enjoy having, but I'd enjoy having dinner with George W. too. So
From everything I've heard and read, he's George W. is like this phenomenal person, like this really great guy and stuff. And I may not have liked him as a president, but from all accounts that I've come across, I think I would like him a lot as a person.
hmm
And I think that's one of those things too that it's hard to remember sometimes that the president is a person. Um, like that sounds like a strange thing to say, maybe, but they come out of the office and like, oh, now you have to go back to the rest of life.
hmm
Like I couldn't imagine what that would feel like to go, like how do you follow up on that? Well, a couple of years ago I was president, but now
Well, think about how they feel that first time they actually get onto a commercial flight. Obviously, they're going to be first class, but they had Air Force One for 4 or 8 years, and then suddenly they've got to wait for the back for them to say first class boarding.
well, the flip side of it too. Do you think when they first become president, because when you first kind of become an adult, how you're like, people think I'm an adult, but really it's like I've been kind of faking this for however long. I can't believe that. Whatever. Um, do you think that happens where you're like, look at this, I am
Well,
president. They check out what I can do.
yeah, with it,
you know,
yeah. Well, and I think that's part of Trump's problem is that for most politicians, there's this period of time before they become president where they're still politicians and they still have to behave in front of cameras a certain way. Well, Trump's never had to behave in front of cameras a certain way, so he's gonna, you know, it, it wouldn't surprise me for him to be at a press conference and passing gas. He's just he doesn't care. Um, so that adult thing hasn't ever happened with him,
no.
which is part of what scares the rest of us to death. But
Well, yeah, I think one of the bigger, scarier things would be, I mean, outside of whatever kind of policy um, that he could dream up, I think one of the scarier moments would be the first time that he sat down at a table with Putin. And
uh,
it's like, you know, it would be the most watched political event probably ever because we would all be able to say, and this is the day that the war started.
yeah, I mean, well, I fully expect it to be a reality TV for the next 4 years should he get elected. He's not going to want to be away from the cameras at all.
No,
This is the biggest stage ever. And I don't think our country will be better for it. So,
no. Um, so let's see. Pedwin George says, if you could only take 3 items to college with you, what would you take?
I'm trying to remember college. Clean underwear, a microwave. You see, technology has changed so much since I went to college. See,
Mm-hmm.
when I was in college, um, there was no cable TV. We had no air conditioning. I didn't. I had I had a word processor. It was before computers. That's how old I am. I remember going to my first computer lab, and there was like the Macintosh, the first Macintosh. So I can't even imagine what college would be like today. That I would have the things I would have to take. So I would assume. So I'm thinking just basic living. I'm thinking refrigerator, microwave, and TV.
Mm.
What would you take? You're
Uh,
much closer to this question than I am.
I would take, assuming I can take clothes, kind of for free-ish. Um, I would take a computer, like a laptop, which would take care of school stuff and TV for that matter.
True.
Uh, I didn't really need a fridge in college because
But where do you
everything.
keep the beer?
What's that?
Where do you keep the beer?
In the RA's room.
Okay.
If they're the person who's going to bust you for it, then they're the person to leave it with because you can't get busted for what they have, right?
That's true. And if you buy it for them, I can see that. That's very wise.
So I would take a computer, clothes. That's really about it. I don't think I need a third.
Yeah, you're a cheap date.
I can store my I can store my books on a computer. It's not the nicest way to read them, but bringing one book doesn't help me very much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can do shows and movies on the computer. Yeah, I'd be set. Probably a big external drive. Just,
You'd be good to go.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit college would be way different now than it was back in the 90s when I was there. So always hangout's always good to make me feel old. So we have hit that quota tonight.
There are always those things about how old were you when this happened and when this happened and this happened this long ago, so don't you feel old now?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Toy Story 1 was 21 years ago.
Yes.
That's the one that gets me.
Yeah, I wasn't quite married yet, but I was very close.
So I'm going with a different set of things than Macho Matt.
But I mean, he at least he has a plan, right?
He does have that.
So what did he put? He said
Rope, rubber gloves, and chloroform.
so and honestly, with that, you can pretty much take whatever else you need. Just find whoever it is you want to kidnap or kill, and then take their stuff.
Well, I mean, the
So,
rubber gloves do kind
thinking.
of betray a sense of foresight.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe he's looking to go to medical school. Maybe it's for to be sterile in the surgical field. You don't know. Rubber gloves.
Rubber gloves. Yeah, I guess if he was going to be a chemist, he might use chloroform.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he's looking at a meth lab.
And Charlie Bronson's always got a rope.
Yeah. So it's we should not judge. We
No,
should
I'm sure he has the best of intentions.
exactly.
Ima asks, inspired by my teenager. Oh wow, your kid's a teenager. Well, no, I see pictures of him on Instagram, and Julie's gone and visited and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think I realized that. I guess I should have. Inspired by my teenager, was there a TV show that you enjoyed so much that you wanted to or did attend a taping of said show? And she said her son entered the lottery for Studio C tickets this afternoon. I'm not sure what
Yeah.
Studio
What?
C is.
Any idea what Studio C is?
Uh-uh. No, never heard of it. I if if it's for her teenage son, then I think my kids are just too young for it. You say hey?
Yeah. Hey, do you know what Studio C is for?
You know what Studio C is?
No.
No. Oh well.
Mm-hmm.
To answer the question, in college we always said we wanted to go to The Price is Right. So, we went to college in North Carolina. The plan was right after graduation, we were going to get in the car, drive, hop on I-40, drive to LA, and get on The Price is Right. That was our big goal, which of course never happened, but that was the plan. I can't think of any other show. I'd love to be, act in many of them, but to go watch a taping, I mean, it'd be fun, but nothing really sticks out.
Sure. There are a couple that I would have liked to do just because of just to see how they were done. Um, but as far as shows that are going now, I would. Okay. Well, I don't know. Go ahead and find one. I would do a taping of Sherlock. I think that'd be fun. I would definitely do a taping of Doctor Who. I don't know.
See, especially for Sherlock, I've never seen Doctor Who. I probably should.
It's fun. Some people really, really like it.
For Sherlock, he is so good, you know, in his long monologues, and I'd be scared that if I watched the taping, I would realize that each one of those monologues takes about 30 takes to get right, and he's just not as good as what we think he is. So I like my ignorance is bliss back here, just looking at it and thinking he's, you know, he's just that brilliant, and I'm scared the third wall would fall down if I got a glimpse at what, you know, they're really like.
I get that.
Kind of like it'd be cool to watch a sci-fi show being taped, but if you actually watch it being filmed, it's, you know, it's either all done on green screen or it's, you know, a really small studio where, you know, everything looks really fake in person, but it makes it look really good on TV, you know.
But maybe it kind of ruins the magic.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be the risk.
But the price is right is the price is right.
It's true.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty much what you see is what you get. I can't think of anything else that, other than game shows, that would be that way. I would go watch a Last Week Tonight. I think that'd be hilarious.
Or, you know, I think an Ellen taping or a late night taping would be a lot of fun.
Then,
you know, that'd be cool.
Let's see. Jack Tor S asks another one. Says, according to the First Amendment, there is no difference between free speech and hate speech. I think I will add to that, agree or disagree.
I'm not a constitutional scholar, so I don't know. So I guess the question is, should we be protected from hate speech? Is that what it's asking?
Or should hate speech be protected? I guess might be the other way of asking that. Okay, shut the door, bud.
I guess I would say that that's kind of why we have the First Amendment, because especially with the millennials today, anything I say to them that they disagree with, they may see as hate speech. They may, just because I disagree with it doesn't mean that I hate it. And a lot of people nowadays, you know, we live in such an anti-state and everything is so protected with political correctness, and just, you know, I can say that I disagree with X, and if you are a big fan of X, or if that's where your passions lie, you could see that as hate speech. And the First Amendment is there to protect us from that. So I think it should be protected. So anyway, that's my 2 cents as I try to fill in the dead air while they are saying hello. Hello, Miss Julie.
Yellow.
So your question is, should hate speech be protected by the First Amendment? Here, take this
No.
chair.
That's a little too deep for me right now.
Yeah, she
I
needs
think
to decompress from her run first.
You need to decompress from your run first.
Yeah, I'm eating cucumbers and hummus. Hummus.
I think I'm just going to get a spoonful of cookie butter. That's just me.
Just why I like hummus.
Do you not like hummus?
No, I don't like cucumbers. I can handle hummus. Give me a nice pizza chip or something like that. But no cucumbers. I am not a cucumber fan. Bacon and hummus. That sounds really good.
You don't like cucumbers?
To answer the question, I think it's great that the First Amendment protects speech. I kind of think that there should be there are times that I wish that there was a 0th Amendment that was just don't be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
But being that there's not, I think it's great that speech is protected. Legitimate hate speech, I would love to find a way to be rid of.
But that's a person problem. That's not an amendment problem.
I'm going to say, but I don't know if that's a legislative thing. But do I feel that hate speech should be eliminated? Absolutely. Do I feel that that's the right way to go about doing it? Probably not.
Right. I just don't see a legal foothold to stand on there. I do like your "Don't be a dick" amendment, though. That'd be a good amendment to have.
It should be there. I mean, you'll have scholars for decades arguing over just where the line is, but you know what I mean? Bad deal.
It's kind of like profanity. You know it when you see it. So
yeah.
we don't need to. Was that? I think Matt just said that he wants to see some dancing.
Who said that?
Macho Matt.
Macho Matt. He said he's watching live, and he wants to see some dancing. Oh, there you go. There's. That is nice.
Thanks. Think I pulled a muscle?
You can't stop.
That's very nice. And with the new fancy camera you got, it was all right there. So.
Right.
You got a new fancy camera?
Oh, we've had this one for a little while.
I was like, it doesn't look new. You've been buying stuff again. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's see. GOW488 says, "Why did the chicken cross the road?"
To get the egg.
Why the hell not?
Yeah. The big question is which came first, the egg or the chicken? So, there. Oh, Matt evidently appreciates the dancing. He. There you go. And Matt, since you are watching, I assume you prefer Julie's dancing to either of us. So we'll just leave it at that. And I'm Baptist. I'm not allowed to dance, right?
I think that's in the bylaws.
Exactly.
I don't actually know anything about bylaws.
I think I said it before on the show that's why Baptists don't like premarital sex. It's because they're scared it'll lead to dancing. So.
What is it?
That Baptists don't like premarital sex because they're scared it'll lead to dancing.
Yes.
That's funny. Matt asks, "I want to know the number of molecules on Leonard Nimoy's butt. Weird Al Yankovic was only off by 3 according to one of his songs."
I'm pretty sure by my last calculation it was 13. I have no
Is it
source
cute?
to cite on, but that's how many molecules I believe was on Leonard Nimoy's. But I am interested to see what song that was, though.
Yeah, I missed it completely.
Not familiar. I mean, I enjoy the Weird Al, but I don't remember that song in particular.
I'm familiar with exactly one Weird Al song, and it was his Star Wars cover of American Pie.
Which was a great song.
My kids are very into that right now.
Well, you need to really branch out. He had many good ones. Eat It was really good. That was off of Michael Jackson's Beat It. I'm Fat instead of I'm Bad, also a Michael Jackson song. White and Nerdy was a really good song.
I think I've heard that one.
There was one about Jurassic Park.
Trying to remember.
I don't remember.
I wasn't into Weird Al, and nobody that I knew was into Weird Al, so I missed that whole thing except the Star Wars cover of American Pie, because I think everyone born after, I don't know, 1902 has heard that song at least once. I think that's a hard one to read.
He's actually a safe one to go on YouTube with the kids and just watch some videos. There's no language, there's no sex, and he's normally pretty funny. So if you can find a few that are kind of funny, then the kids will enjoy it too. That's we spent an afternoon one day just going through old Weird Al videos.
That's funny.
And then later, when they actually hear the real song on the radio, they're like, "Oh, that's what that was." So.
But you guys let them listen to the radio?
Yes, believe it or not, my 7-year-old is a big fan of AC/DC.
Okay.
But he thinks it's Iron Man. So back when I was in a musical at church probably 2-3 years ago, and so at that point he was like 4, and my wife was working, so I had to have him with an iPad, and I just stuck him with somebody who happened to be an usher up in the balcony. And about halfway through the musical, he turns on the Iron Man soundtrack, which of course is AC/DC. So the usher's trying to figure out how to turn down the iPad while my 4-year-old's fighting him, and Joseph and Mary are coming in on a donkey in the middle, to Back in Black. So it was quite exciting. But yes, my 7-year-old is a big fan of AC/DC. He can one of the games we play in the car is, what artist is this? So if it's a song that I feel like they should know, I make him give me the artist. So Aerosmith, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Metallica. That's the genre I'm trying to train my children in correctly.
All right. I have this nice week between spring semester and the start of classes for the next semester, even though the summer semester has officially started, but there aren't classes until next week, where while I'm at work, I don't have to have headphones on, and I can just put on music, and it doesn't matter what it is. So for the last couple days, I have been listening to a lot of Chili Peppers and Pearl Jam and Foo Fighters. I like Foo Fighters.
I'm a fan of Foo Fighters.
And yeah, some Metallica, depends on when, but it's fun. It's really nice, and everyone's gone out of the building, which is not a bad thing for me. Starting next week, I'm going to have to put headphones on and just keep my head down.
Your Princess Leia headphones?
Yeah. I have headphones I use for running that are Bluetooth headphones, but they're like they're the kind that go in your ear instead of over the ear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fine for running. I wouldn't use over-the-ear ones for running because sweat. But I would very much prefer the over-the-ear ones pretty much always.
Well, and it is a good look for you. Let's be honest.
Well,
The Princess Leia is it's a classic.
You're a majestic creature. What's wrong with you?
Let's see, Jenna Brooklyn, I hope you had a great dinner date.
Yes.
Who had a dinner date?
Jenna Brooklyn.
He did. She did.
She didn't post questions because she was on a dinner date. So I hope it was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone asked the other day, what is Hangout, and she answered the question before I got there, and I said basically I'm always on, and she's always the one that asks the questions. We all have our role. So,
True.
So we'll have to ask for an update on her dinner date.
Yeah. Just a couple more. Facepalm says it's complimentary pampering day. Foot massage or facial?
Facial. I don't want anyone touching my feet. Don't love it.
Anytime I can get touch, I'm getting touch. So I want the massage.
That sounded real weird, Ron.
Sorry. It's a love language thing. I
I'm not a creepy Southern Baptist at all.
I'm a hugger. I have no problems with people touching me, and so if someone wants to give me a good old-fashioned foot massage, I'll take it.
I'll take like a full body massage. I don't want people touching my feet. I don't love it. I don't love pedicures. I'm sorry, ladies. I just don't.
Yeah, I've never had one of those.
Well, you don't have to get, designs on your nails. You can just have them. But I hear dudes like it. So treat yourself, Ron.
Yeah, I got a friend who's diabetic, and he gets a pedicure every week.
I bet he would.
I can't imagine that it's pleasant for the person that's doing the pedicure, but he swears he loves it.
What about you, honey?
Foot massage.
Really?
Yep, absolutely. I don't have to think about that.
What do you have to think about with that's facial? There's nothing to think about.
No. I'm saying I don't have to think about that decision. That's an easy decision.
Sure.
Do you like fries made from some other vegetable than a russet potato?
Yeah.
I'll pass over all kinds of normal fries to get to sweet potato fries. Love some sweet potato fries.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what other options are there other than sweet potato fries?
Make like zucchini fries and I don't know. And that's all I got.
Okay, I'm sticking with my sweet potato fries.
Yeah, I'll stick with sweet potato fries too.
Macho Matt thinks he should grab his tablet and get on for dancing.
Yeah, I'll have a dance party with you, Macho Matt.
Yeah, see, and that's why I'm not going to dance, because Macho Matt would just dance me under the table, so to speak.
No, it's all about confidence, Ron. It doesn't matter if you're a good dancer or not. You just gotta look like you're having a good time and you know what's going on.
Well, and I'm all about that when I'm hanging out with my friends, or if I'm trying to embarrass my children.
Oh, I was like, you're trying to seduce your wife? No?
Yeah, that's I've given up on that concept. After 20 years of marriage, the seducing doesn't really happen. There's nothing new left. But when I do dance, there's not a camera around. to keep it for posterity. So, but I mean, we all know Matt. He's a twerker. So.
Oh, I'm not gonna twerk on camera. No.
Well, no, he will.
Oh, okay.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Matt, if you are still watching, next week you're on, yeah? You should write back, but I think next week you should be on. We will have lots of fun. I'll find other good people to be on with you too.
Wait, are you saying we're not good people?
No, I'm saying others also.
Did you hear that, Ron?
I know. I'm kind of offended.
I said others also, as in addition to these good people.
I think he's backtracking.
I'm not. All right. Matt says, you're stranded on an island. You need to survive. Okay. To your good fortune, you get to choose someone to be with you and help you survive. To your bad fortune, you can only choose between Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. Who will you choose and why?
I'd probably choose Donald. I kind of feel like he might have some ridiculous, like, I don't know.
Life raft hidden in that hair?
Yeah.
Kind of like
Hillary, you're not going to do anything for me.
I'm gonna go with Hillary because of the two, I think she'd be the easiest to kill, and then I would just eat her. You know, Donald, he's a big guy. Even though he's pushing 70, he'd be tougher to take down. However, there would be more meat on Donald, I think, than
that's what I'm talking about.
Than Hillary. I don't think either of them would help me survive other than just food. Donald would just sit on the beach and he would talk about how there are going to be magical boats appear at any moment.
No, he would just say, I know stuff. I know how to survive. Surviving, that's easy. That's what I know how to do. I'm going to survive. I'm a survivor.
And then we're going to build a wall around this island so that no one else can get on the island.
Yeah. Yeah, I will go with, and I think that there are people who would go looking for Hillary. I don't think there are people who would go looking for Trump. I think my odds are much better if I want to get off the island of being with the person that more people are going to want to actually rescue. I think Trump goes missing onto an island somewhere, and there's going to be a lot of good riddance.
Yeah, there'd be, the world would have to stop the party in order to actually go look for him.
Right. Although, no, I'm going to stick with that answer.
Well, and the other thing is, win, lose, or draw, Hillary's going to have her Secret Service detailed. I trust the Secret Service to come find Hillary.
Sure.
2 years from now, if Trump doesn't win, he won't have Secret Service. 2 years from now, if Hillary doesn't win, she will have Secret Service. So that actually was something that I thought about when I used to go fishing with Jennifer's uncle when he was still in his post. I thought, this boat goes down, I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to stick close to him because they're going to come find him. So, yeah, I was more worried about getting shot than I was going down on the boat. But
that would be a concern. Matt also points out that Rick Astley will lend you any of the Pixar movies in his movie collection. Any of them except for one. He's never going to give you up.
Nice. I hadn't heard that. I'm going to have to use that because I did teach my kid about the Rick rolling, so they are familiar now with the song. And so
yes.
I'm going to use that, Matt. So Matt also says he's good for next week, in case you missed that.
Cool. Well, let's call it. This worked much better than I was expecting it to, with just the two of us.
Yeah, quality, not quantity. There you go.
There were some awesome questions too, though. So thank you for everyone who asked. We will be next. Yep.
Words, use that.
Yeah, I'm trying. Um, we will be back next week. There it is. With more people on. We do have a couple takers, so that should be good. Um, that's all I've got for tonight. Do you have anything, Ron?
Nope. Just I'm enjoying the never. I've got never going to give you up now in my head. So thank you, Matt, for that. Really do appreciate it.
All right. And then we will see everyone next week.
Good night.
Good night.